Renan and Steve is our guest. What do you think about the good speakers, and do you want to become a good speaker? We all know that in human rights information published by the UN, people human on the world have the freedom of speaking, and free speech is some type of speaking that is popular for everyone. However, many people believe that there should be some limitations in the freedom of speech will allow people to have a better speech, a better environment. So today, our panelists will discuss about this. Steve, what do you think by a free speech?
Well, I think the most uncontroversial way to go by this is to rely on the dictionary definition, which would be the most legitimate way of defining freedom of speech. So, freedom of speech, as followed, is the right to express any opinions without censorship or restraint whatsoever from any authority or person. Period.
Wenan, do you agree with Steve's definition?
Yeah, Joe. Basically, it's the definition, so it's legitimate. But I think there are more to discuss on this by talking about the limitation and should we talk without the limitations of speech?
So, as Steve have mentioned before, the free speech is a speech that have no regulations. However, many people, like I said before, believe that there should be some limitations about this. So, Wenan, like if you are a speaker, people ask you to give us free speech for a specific communities, but they require you to make a change, make the range of your talking. What do you think?
What do I think? What? Can you please? Um,
Okay, and repeat. If you are a speaker and you are going to make a speaking for a communities and your boss asks you to make a limit of that speech because your audience, your community is not suitable in your free speech, what do you think?
well, that's the problem in this society. That's why in Vietnam and maybe some Asian countries, they're they feel like they are ashamed of talking about sexual orientation or something that they think that is sensitive and that is not right to talk into the public, and that's why people feel so ashamed to talk about it, while in other countries they're talking about it and that is the very controversial topic and they feel free to say it. If my boss asks me to and the topic it's not like it makes some barrier from me to my audience, so I will just I am free and I'm really willing to lose my job to do that and to raise awareness and to make a change, really a change to the community.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Do you think that we should have limitation in our free speech? If yes, give us some example, and if not, please give us some examples that you have been through in your life where you should give limitation.
Mate, slow down a bit. Slow down a bit. We don't need to rush this through, okay?
Oh,
Just speak slowly and calmly so that we may all understand what the questions being posed.
okay. So, do you agree that there should be limitation in some type of speech? If yes, please give us some example that you have been through in your life where your speaking should have some of the limitation.
Well, the issue here with free speech regulation is that who deserves the power to do it? And the answer is no one. And if you give someone the power to do it, you create a precedent for them to regulate further issues. This creates a slippery slope towards authoritarianism and towards totalitarianism. Free speech is just one issue in the issue of our descent into further authoritarianism and further control by the government. And as of such, we should not create the precedent for any entity, be it private or governmental, to regulate free speech. So, no, nobody has a legitimate right, be it from God or from whatever law they may construed, to regulate free speech. It is a right that should be guaranteed to all humans simply because nobody has the right to regulate it. Nobody has the legitimate right to regulate free speech whatsoever.
Okay. So that was our guest today, thinking of that freedoms about the of speech. What about other audience for today and what you're thinking about this topics? Please let us know down the QR code below. And thank you, Steve and Winan, for participating in today's speech and everyone else. That's the end. Miss Lanan, you were mute.
So we're done already?
Yes, we've done.
Goodness. We still have Q&A session for Wanan and Steve so that all the audience can ask questions to them.
Yeah, let's just continue it, mate. This is a free speech session after all. Why not let the audience speak? I think there's a bit of contradiction here with the moderator about free speech. Are you a bootlicker?
Okay.
Goodness.
Do you have any questions for our speaker?
Everyone, please raise a question to a group of panelists here.
No government here is going to regulate your speech. Just be comfortable.
I want to ask that should the prisoner, the one who commit crime, have the right of free speech? Anyone can answer that.
Well, again, they do, because they are still a member of society. They are a human, all right? And free speech is a right guaranteed to all humans. It doesn't distinguish between criminals or upstanding modest citizens, because no entity can derive any legitimate right to regulate free speech. And this applies also to criminals and degenerates too. That is why we live in a free society. If there is any regulation, then we are on a slippery slope towards further regulation. And from regulating criminal speech, you can regulate modest citizen speech. So yeah, you don't want that at all, be it criminal or modest citizens.
I understand, sir. And also, how can you explain that some countries are still not allowing free speech?
Well, my answer to that would be there are remnants of an old age authoritarianism still present in our world, remnants of feudal governments, of medieval systems of governance that are still present in our society. And we have not made the progression towards a complete free and libertarian utopia, which is eventually the ultimate goal of humanity and the natural state of human beings, is to rule themselves without any interruption or any regulation from a obstructive entity that we now call the government. Governments such as the North Korean Democratic People's Republic, quote unquote, or the People's Republic of China are a remnant of a bygone era. And it is best, I believe, that in the natural evolution of humankind, that we eventually get rid of these obsolete government systems and these obsolete societies that no longer should exist in our right human society.
I understand, sir. So I think the remaining time can left for all the audience to ask the panelists some question. Thank you so much for the answer. And why don't you turn on your camera? I want to see your face when you're saying that, like really.
It is my right, and nobody has the right to regulate my turning on of the camera. I am consistent with my principles.
Okay, any other questions, everyone?
All right, so I have a question for Steve. See, you're very critical of regulations against free speech. Now, I myself is fond of this idea. However, I have one concern, which is, can we really trust all citizens to be responsible with their rights? Because there always is that risk of people using this right of speech to spread messages that are not necessarily beneficial to society as a whole.
Well, that brings another issue into of itself. How do you find a citizen who is not trustworthy? Every government has a different kind of doing this. Every entity has. Maybe they are really untrustworthy, but by creating this precedent that a certain entity or an authority can determine whether or not a certain kind of speech, a certain kind of citizen shouldn't be allowed to express their opinion freely, we create a very dangerous precedent where this definition can be applied to, differing opinions on the governance of the nation. Authoritarian governments have the tendency to do this. They frame people who oppose their regime as untrustworthy citizens, when in reality, these are just citizens who don't agree with their way of ruling the nation. So yes, this creates an unprecedented degree, so in which governments can just freely use the definition of untrustworthy to regulate speech, and that is why we should not be establishing this precedent, so that the free speech remains pure. So yes, in a free society, we must accept there are bad and good people, but we should not let them drown out the bad people so as to create a precedent for the good people to be drowned out too.
Thank you for your answer.
Okay, so I think that's also the end of our discussion. Now let's give feedback to this team in terms of great points in improvements. Please give feedback to them. Let's talk about my role first as a moderator. What is a great point in improvement for her role? Jack, Charlotte, Khánh Minh, Phương Anh, would you like to share? Bằng Lam. Would you like to share your feedback to them? Phương Anh, go ahead hả? Ok, Tiên go ahead đi Tiên ơi.
So my review of the moderator role is, first of all, I think her voice suits this roles a lot because it's very energized and it makes us feel engaged to the panel discussion. So but like also Steve also said that sometimes it's a little bit too fast, a little bit too energetic. So I think that if she can keep her voice and tones that the same energy but slow it down, it will be a lot more efficient when she is speaking. And in terms of the moderator practice, I think she did a great job at introducing and question. One thing that I want her to improve is sometimes she's a little bit too energized and she skipped some part, like she didn't evaluate the response from the panelist discussion enough, and she also skipped the Q&A section. However, I think she's also a very interesting moderator to me, very appealing.
Okay.
Thanks
How
for the feedback.
others? You have any feedback to my Vương?
I have a feedback.
Yeah, go ahead Phương Anh.
Well, I see that firstly, my film had an impressive introduction, which is quite formal, I think, and also a little bit funny because her voice make me feel quite energetic and funny. I don't know, but it sounds really funny. And secondly, I believe that she was still able to overcome the small challenge that the panelists gave her. For example, like when Quỳnh Anh or Steve, I don't remember exactly, but they asked Mai Vương to repeat the question. I remember that, and Mai Vương spoke super slowly, super slow to repeat them, and I think that she was success in overcome overcoming the small challenge that panelists pose for her. And but I think that my Vương could be better, and next time when she become a moderator, if
Mm,
sometimes her voice need to be like more, what is that called, like ổn định. Um,
stable.
yeah, stable. Yeah, need to be stable because sometimes her voice was a little bit fast, but sometimes it was like so slow, and
Mm,
she also can improve a lot if she remember all the responsibility of um, a moderator. Like just remember the Q&A section at the end, like
mm,
that. But
mm,
anyway, my Vương did a great job, and I have
mm,
no comment for the end.
okay.
That's so true. Thank you.
Maybe now you understand your talents, right? That is your voice and also your energy. It makes people awaken. With that strength, I believe that you fit well with the role of being an MC or a moderator because you can just stir the atmosphere of the whole crowd. Now, what is the challenge? Now, let's talk about your challenges. The first point, learn how you can respond to your panelist speech. It means that whenever they finish one point, how can you have a robust sentence in order to respond to that point, to that speech? Because the way that you respond to that speech, that also show your intelligence or your experience whenever you lead the section. Don't need to say thank you, but you can wrap up something. The simply way is just to wrap up, to paraphrase their point in a one sentence only. That is the simple way. But the better way to do is how can you respond smartly to their speech? Okay? That is the first challenge. The second thing is that whenever someone just give a comment to you, you may want to say thank you so much for that compliment. You might want just to react nicely to that person, even they play rude to you. Okay? And the next one is that because I believe my will is not a detail oriented person. So next time, especially in the final test, in our final test on July 3rd, because you are an MC, you may want to write down very like list by list, point by point, what are some responsibilities that you need to be in charge of, otherwise you may forget. And it may cause embarrassment on you because you lead the whole section. On that day, there will be around 100 or 200 people. That is really important. So you might want to make sure that you don't miss anything because you are not a detail oriented person. So that's why that you need to write down. Okay, Mabel,
Yes, thank you.
do you think that you are not a detail oriented person?
Yeah, definitely.
Mm,
So I will note of that, and
mm,
I
okay.
will make sure the final will went good.
Yeah, and utilize your voice and energy in order to warm up the whole crowd. All
Mm.
right, now let's
Yeah.
talk about Winan and Steve. What is your feedback to them as a panelist, everyone? Do you have any feedback? Coming Jack, Sherlock, Marvel, even you can give feedback to them as well. How do you feel when they are so rude to you?
Like, the only reasons why I don't make any paraphrase at the end is that I don't understand Steve, which, like, I'm not sure about this.
Uh,
I
you,
don't
you,
think that's a
mm,
drawback or just because of me, but like, I'm not understand Steve
mm,
speech a little bit.
I see. How about William? Do you understand what Steve said?
Not as a whole,
No, 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 as a whole. Huh?
but like some points I understand it,
Mm,
but the others I'm
mm,
not sure.
okay, now let's ask others. Phương Anh, Tiên, Khánh Minh, Sherlock, Jack, and Bằng Lăng. How many percent do you understand Steve?
I would say like 95 to 100. I do grasp
Mm,
the big portion of his speech. Well, I
Okay.
think
How about
I
Bang?
basically understand most of his part
Ah,
and opinion.
you understand all the Sherlock?
Most, not all.
Most. How many percent?
I can't convert that to percentage.
Okay, Bang Lang,
Around 90. Yeah,
90.
yeah, because I have not. Yeah,
Okay, Phương Anh and Jack.
Well, my English skill, especially listening, is not really too good, so I think just around like 70.
Uh, Jack.
Oh, it's depend. When Steve speaking, like if you are really pay attention to him, it's gonna be easy to listen. Like 95% of when you pay attention, but if you are not pay attention, I think it's 10%. Yeah. It depends on your attention.
If you don't pay attention, it's 10%.
Yes, it's only depend on your
that's a big
attention.
gap.
Yeah, that's a big gap, right?
That
Okay.
doesn't be.
Yeah, that's a very big gap.
Okay. Okay. So what? So now go back. What is the problem here? What is the challenge here that causing challenges for people to understand sleep? What do you think, Steve? What can be the reason?
I think that only those who understand and already did some research onto what he's saying understand him. But what he says is not like the common sense and the common topic to every
Mm,
people. But
mm,
should understand his audience better in the future. Yeah.
mm. Okay, Steve, what do you think?
I guess my vocabulary was a bit too, guess, ostentatious, you could say, a bit too academic,
Mm,
perhaps, a bit too fast in pace sometimes.
mm. Yeah, right, Steve. You spot out a right point. That is about the words you selected to use. Because sometimes in our daily conversation, we don't use many academic words. In order to avoid misunderstanding, we just only use simple words. So you may consider, Steve, you may want to analyze your audience and then to see that in which occasion you will use academic words, or in which situations you're going to use simple words for people to understand you more, because at the end of the day the purpose of communication is to understand each other. That is the only ultimate goal of communication, to make sure that other people understand us. Okay, so it depends on your audience, huh, Steve?
All right.
Mm-mm. Maybe so. Is it all right to use academic words? I think that it just depends on the occasion, on your audience. Okay, Jai. Now let's come to the second panel discussion from Bằng Lăng, Khánh Minh, and Phương Anh.
Sure. Thanks.
Please turn on your camera, Phương Anh. Just 1 minute, so we can see your face. Đây, bạn study mình.
The noise. Okay. Thank you so much for coming to this panel discussion. Thank you, the two guest speakers, and all the audience. Students, audience, we are all concerned about one thing. It's career part of what we are going to do in life and how we are going to enjoy it. And the most common question we get is whether we choose passion or money in high paid job. And understand that question and reason. We are we we have invited two professors and two guests that have been experienced in this field. Let me introduce Khánh Minh, a social professor, and also the one who has been travel abroad and go on and mentor many students into choosing their career. And also introducing you, Ms. Phương Anh. She is a young entrepreneur with very high paid job as a CEO. And yes, we have to tell you topic today is passion or I'm sorry, passion or money? Should you choose passion or high paid job? And yes, the first question is also our topic today. Um, yes, Florence, I want to ask you first. In your opinion, should we choose the job you love or the job that provides you a lot of money and fulfill your desires? I'm sorry, fulfill your consumer desires, consumption.
Okay, so in my opinion, there are two cases for you. This also depends on your financial ability. For example, in the first case, if you have enough financial resources to last you through the early years of your career, like first year or second years, then, well, don't hesitate to follow your passion and use your passion and also use your original capital to make more and more money. And if you don't have money, then I recommend you to choose a high paying job first. And then when you have a certain amount of money, like have enough money for you, start pursuing your original dream. And gradually, if things turn out to be stable, you can quit your own job too, like the high paying job. But keep in mind that high paying job, no matter what, but always need a little bit of your love and ability in that job. Because according to Richard Koch's principle, your love will always makes you more and more money. That's my opinion.
So you are saying that we should balance between own the passion and the money, right?
Yeah, that's
And
right.
Mr. Steve over here, like, no, I'm sorry, Mr. Kaimin over here, seems like he got some more opinion to add on. Yes, Kaimin, can you tell me, the audience, some of your opinions?
Right. So, in my opinion, I would say follow your passion because we need to be motivated in order to do our job, and to be motivated, you need passion. And without passion, without this motivation, your job and consequently lives will be miserable. Imagine going to work, working 8 hours a day, and not not getting any emotional satisfaction from it. Right? It's just torture, and you can't do your job properly this way. And no passion means no motivation, and no motivation means you can't do your job properly. That is to say, if you want to do your job well, then you need passion and motivation, and the only way to have this is to love your job. Now, you could force your way through or with a high paid job, but then you won't perform well. And if you compare that to, say, all of your competitor, all the other employees who could may as well possibly love their job, you don't have much of a standing. And if you can't do that high paid job properly, then I would say what guarantees that you will be able to stay in that job if you don't perform well? And so I think the optimal option is to go with your passion. Now, this is kind of the either or fallacy, but I think if I have to make a choice, I would go with the passion.
Yes, I understand your point that you want us to follow your passion because with passion we are going to make money and other else. But
I don't believe that. Bang Lang, I don't believe that.
I understand. Yes, so the problem is that many audience might ask that how can you find passion? Really?
Well, was that a question for me?
Yeah, you two can add up to this and kindly, if you want to answer, yes, you can answer.
Right. So I think there's a lot of things in this world, and people who believes that there's nothing for them to be passionate about. I think they're just not finding that thing yet. And to find your passion, the important thing is that you don't force it. You don't find something and say, "Oh, this must be my passion," and try to force it down your mind. Uh, I think the time-consuming but optimal way to go about it is try to explore, because there's endless things, endless topics, endless jobs in this world, and the thing you just have to do is go out and find them. And you take your time, and eventually you'll get to something that you like. And
See, but Miss Flying here kind of oppose the opinion that you are saying. So Flying, can you tell me why you are opposing that opinions and yeah, and to explain your point more clearly for the audience to understand.
Well, I agree with Khánh Minh that we always need passion. We always need some love for the job. But I want to ask that if we only have motivation and also passion, will motivation last when you have no money, have to live with debt or live with your parents? Will you, Khánh Minh?
well, that's the thing. This is a very either or situation, and obviously everybody wants a job that they love and financially fulfilling. The
I see.
passion.
So, and Miss Flying, you are the one who have a very high pay job, and you are saying that we need passion. So I believe that you are balancing between passion and money. And how can you balance this? And can you teach it to other audience?
Well, firstly, I will list all my jobs into a Google sheet, like just list it, all the job that I have a passion in, and also I will, like I will list all the things related to financial, uh, to the salary for the job that to, for example, if I want to become a singer, I will list that if I cannot be famous, so how much money I will earn from that, or like just list all the job that you have the passion first, and then secondly just list all the salary that you can earn from that job, and so I will choose it. For example, if the top of the career, the job that I like is not, I cannot pay a really high salary from the job that, that it which is like from the top of my passion. So I won't choose it. I will choose the second one, which is I also have some passion in, but a little bit less than the first one. But I still have the passion, and also I still can earn more money.
I want to make it clear. So like you are trying to choose like the possibility of gaining money and also fulfill your passion, and that is hard. So really, can you answer in a more concise way of how can you balance this like in your life?
But I don't know how to like answer it more clearly. Can you help me in this?
So like just saying your experience because you are the one who got very high paid job, right? And also you say that you need passion in your job. So just tell your experience.
So, for example, I have three passions. I have three passions in three jobs. For example, the first one is singer. The second one is to become a CEO, to start up a company, and the third one is to become a police. So I will list down all the salary that I can earn from that job. For example, like my top passion is to become singer, but I can only like earn 10 million đồng, Vietnam đồng per month. So I will not choose it. But then later on, my second passion is to become CEO, so I will choose it because when I become a CEO, I can earn like 50 million Vietnam dong per month. And so my advice here for all the audience here is that you need to have a backup plan. Don't just like follow a passion, just try more. So that you will find more and more passion in another field, so that you will have choice. Can make the decision to choose.
Yes, thank you so much for the advice. And Mr. Kang Ming, can you add more like the last advice for the audience so that we can move on into their question Q&A with the audience? Just one last advice.
I think what Miss Phương Anh said there is very reasonable. I would say much of the same thing. Follow your passion, but leave the doors open, so that you don't trap yourself in a corner by your own passion. Of course, list out the things that you would like, and if one plan fails, and you always have another thing that you could follow.
Thank you, audience. That is a very passionate answer from two of other panelists. And it's time. I think it's time to move on to the question that our audience here are waiting to ask. Yes. So anyone want to ask some question, please turn on your microphone. Miss Tien, Miss Lan Anh, and other audience.
Do you have any question, everyone? Okay, I have question for Kanman. Nowadays in business, people just have an advice to students, which is we shouldn't follow our passion. That is the ultimate advice of successful people nowadays. They don't want students to actually they 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 just give an advice that you shouldn't follow your passion. What do you think about that? That is the first question. The second question is that in case that you just have graduated from university and you have no idea what you are going to do in your life, you even don't know what you like. How can you start your career with your passion because you don't even know what it is? Yeah, two questions for Kanman.
Right. So to answer the first one, successful people saying that we shouldn't follow our passion. I personally think that's a bad thing to do, because if you're saying that just don't follow your passion, you're not even considering it. And we are not machines, we are not robots. Emotional plays a big part in our lives, whether or not we like to admit it. And to completely disregard our personal emotion, our personal desire to just put our head down and work, that's basically trying to convert ourselves into robotics, and that's not gonna work. And you say that's a good, and that's reasonable to say from the standpoint of a successful CEO, right? Let's say a big company wants employees to work for them just mindlessly to have their production and the company grow. It's optimal to have like just millions of robots, human robots who deliberately wipe their own emotion and feelings in order to work for them. But that's not how human works, and that's not how humans should be treated or try to treat themselves. And so that's my response to the first question, is that I think that's really not a good advice. The second one is to, what if you don't know what your passion is yet before you go to just after you go to graduation? I think in that case, just find a decent paying job, because in my advice, the context for it is needed that you know what you want to do. If you don't know what you want to do, then it's better to be reasonable. It's better to play it safe in that period of time to be able to get a foundation, get a footing. If you don't know what you do, if you don't know what you want to do yet, and then once you find out what you want to do, then follow that. But if you have no idea, then it's better to be reasonable and play it safe, get a decent paying job until you do.
Okay, great. Others, any question? Bang Lang, please moderate. Now, in case you have any question, how can you moderate? Mew.
Yeah, because like you asked the question, so I was like, wow, she's taking my role.
No. Now I go back.
Okay, do you
To
have
the
any
audience.
question? I'll seem that we having no question. So so our discussion is now coming into an end. Thank you so much for the audience for coming here, and thank you so much. The two guest panelists are coming here with us today. Your advice is very precious for us and for the students out there who want to choose a career path. Thank you so much, and have a nice day.
Thank you for having us.
Feedback, please, everyone. Feedback to this team. Now let's talk about Bang Lang role first. Moderator. Please give feedback to Bang Lang first. Anyone would like to raise your voice? Unam, my will check Steve Sherlock.
In regards to Bang Lang's moderation here, I think her great points are that she's very patient and calm. She emanates that sense of authority that should come from a moderator. However, I believe she lacks a bit of energy. No offense there, but authority should also come with energy to rile up the audience, and I think she managed to control the speakers well. But in terms of like being an interesting person or like being very energetic, like my Vlung, I think she lacks that. So yeah, putting more energy into her moderation would be the final missing piece of the puzzle.
Yeah. Okay, good. Others? Or even Kanman and Phương Anh, you can give feedback to Bang Lang as well as a panelist. How do you observe?
I think as far as the structure
Mm,
and the organization of her responsibilities, especially the beginning part,
yeah.
she did that very well. She followed through with all the steps, and a thing that she thought of herself is to the thing that's recommended in the steps, and she remembered was that to give us designation, so affiliation, what our roles are, our jobs. I think that's a good thing. Yeah, and I think to improve, what Steve said, yeah, she could add more energy into the speech. But other than that, I think she did well.
Mm,
Actually,
Well, Bang
what
Lang.
I'm trying to do is that I don't want to like get take too much energy. So if I do that, like the energy of the panelists will be like less.
I understand.
mm,
But I want to focus the attention to the panelists, and I don't know if it's the right way.
mm. Phương Anh, go ahead, Phương Anh.
Well, Bang Lang was so patient, really, because I tried to interrupt her a lot and a lot, because I see that when she want to move to Khánh Minh, I also say like I still want to say something, and but Bang Lang just moved to Khánh Minh. But a special thing is that she didn't forget my point. She later on she still asked me that what is my point, why I have an opposite idea with Khánh Minh. She still asks me, which is like I feel like quite respectful to me. Although, and also she still try to follow up to Khánh Minh and the audience too. And I think that's a really good point of Bang Lang. Yeah, but the thing is that I also have the same recommendation with Khánh Minh and also Steve too, that she can give more energy into her speech, and also a problem is that she can be much better if she can improve or just reduce the filler words. That's all.
Mm,
Really great job.
Yeah, she did great at the beginning. Awesome as a moderator. Phương Anh and Khánh Minh, let me ask you this. As a panelist, do you think that you were interrupted by Bang Lang while you were speaking? Do you think that you were interrupted by her? Because sometimes you are speaking and then Bang Lang is stopping you, and then she move on to another point. Did you did you feel that?
I thought I didn't know because there was internet connection problems. There was once that I was speaking and she interrupted me to move on to Phương. However, I think first I thought it could have been just the internet connection being bad. But even if it's not, then if it's for time constraints, then that's something reasonable to do. So that I don't mind. I was still able to get my opinion out. She gives enough turn to speech, I think, for both of us.
Okay. How about Phương Anh? Do you feel interrupted by her?
Yeah, sometimes I don't remember exactly, but I just remember my feelings. But I think that's okay. But I have a recommend because the time is okay too. I have the same idea with Khánh Minh, but actually I have a recommendation that she can speak to me first before just move straightly to Khánh Minh, for example. I know that you have more ideas to say, but we have no time and we need to move to Khánh Minh. Just an
Yeah,
example.
yeah, you're right. That is the point that I want to raise because based on my observation, I saw that there were two times Bang Lang interrupted Kanman, and then he felt a bit awkward because he was saying, and then Bang Lang just moved and without saying anything to him. He understood. He understood that you are trying to interrupt him. He why? The point is that when you interrupt someone, please make sure that you say something after you interrupted that person. Oh, thank you so much for those valuable points. Now let's listen to Phương Anh. You might want to have that connection between two people. Otherwise, they feel quite like neglected by you. Because I am talking and then you move on to the next person. Okay, that is the first point. The second recommendation for Bang Lang is that as a moderator, it's just like you are a speaker. You may want to wrap up the whole event, the whole panel discussion in a message at the end when you say goodbye to everyone. You may want to wrap up the key takeaway from Phương Anh and also Khánh Minh. So what is the key takeaway today? As a moderator, this is what I observed. And I believe that pursuing high income paid job is not something wrong. Or even you follow passion, that is also your choice. But as long as at the end of the day you are all happy with your own decision. Okay, you may want to have a wrap up like that and then you close it. Don't just need to say thank you. Still need to add more message at the end. All right. Now let's move on to the last discussion theme. And Shaw and Jack, please turn on your camera so we can see your handsome and beautiful faces. Jack, go ahead, Jack.
Okay, so we can start now. Yeah, okay. Everyone, okay. So, oh wait, where's Sherlock? Okay, this here. So, ladies and gentlemen, have you ever been to the zoo that you see the animal was mistreated? They are treated really badly. They have to be kept in small case. And how do you feel if you were in that situation? You were keeping in the small place without food or drinks, and it's really badly. I'm sure all of you guys have been to the zoo, and sometimes you're going to see that situation happen. And yeah, I'm sure that you are not going to feel good when you are keeping like some animal in the zoo. And yeah, so we should do some action on it to stop the problem still happen. And today we are lucky to invite you expert about this topic. It's Miss Tin and Miss Sherlock, so we can have some discussion about this topic. So what's the what's it this living? So firstly, with Miss Ting, so I want to hear your opinion about. Do you think that should we ban the zoo or keeping the zoo with animal that mistreated? Yeah, they treated badly. How about your opinion?
Okay, thank you for your question. So about the zoo, I think it is not bad as it is talked about in the media. It's actually a way to educate the public about wildlife and increase biodiversity knowledge. Actually, like not all of us have a chance to observe the nature as closely as we have a hometown in the countryside or something. And as we're becoming more industrialized, the chances for people to get to know the nature is lessen and lessen. So I think the zoo is some chances for children to go out to the zoo. We like if you read it about it on the book and search about the image on the Google, you can see it, of course. But when you go to the zoo, you can feel it, you can listen to the sound, you can smell it, of course, and it will be much more lively for you to experience what is in the wildlife. And like if we want to tell people that we should protect the environment and protect the nature, we have to make them love the nature. And they can love what they just see through the image online, or they could just read about it. They have to see it to actually love it and actually take action to protect it. So I think zoo is one good way to educate the public about wildlife.
Okay, so thank you for your opinion. So that's you're talking about some big zoos when it's big and it's beautiful and you are enjoyful when you see animals. But can you think about how a small zoo that is smelly and it's small, it's dirty, it's wet, an animal was skinny. You are talking about this. There's a lot of bad things. And so, what is checking? Okay. So, Sherlock, you are silent from the beginning. So, l- let me hear some opinion from you. You,
Okay,
hello,
so first, thank you
hello.
for Miss Tian for sharing her opinion in the first place. So I can see that she actually supports having zoos, cats, and yes, I agree that even though like the animals are actually trapped in there, but it's a very good opportunity for like people to learn about nature and wildlife. But that comes at a cost. That people, if the animals are just trapped in the zoos, actually had to keep people safe by actually spending even more and more on protection and food, and that alone takes a lot of money already. And secondly, generally catching animals from wildlife to zoos is basically ruining the part of the ecosystem in wildlife and nature. So,
Okay.
and some of the animals there are also maltreated, like people feed them what they're not supposed to eat. So I think because of that, zoos shouldn't really exist. They shouldn't be kept. Like animals, they also have freedom rights as we do. It's not just it's not just us humans who have freedom. Like all entities on this planet have some sort of freedom, and they should have that right too. That they should not be kept in a cage, just sitting there all day, looking at strangers who keep peering in at you and throwing food at you. No, that's absolutely like it's like some sort.
Okay, okay. Thank you for your opinion. And yeah, it's just weird when there's a lot of zoo that they are not having enough money. Yeah, they leave the animal hungry, and they leave them in really bad condition. This is a wet small case when they keep a tiger inside, and the tiger is really skinny. It's just a skeleton. Yeah, you can say it. It's just you, it's just living hungry for a few days, and some of them were dying, just die because of some diseases, or because simply they just so hungry, so weak. And also you're going to when you go to the zoo you see for some zoo they have the service that you can try the elephant, or you can play with animal, or you watching them doing some stuff. You feel that is fun, yes, but it's really weird for the animal for just make fun for human. Yeah, how you think about it, if you are an animal and you are just make fun for human, and you have to practice it a lot, and it's really hard for you, like every time the animal doesn't follow the instruction, the zookeeper go to hit them, and maybe they go to you some just some really weird. weird thing. So, Miss Tin, what how you thinking about that?
So to answer for your question and also for a million points, I think that um, like if we're saying this thing 20 years ago when we're not industrialized and when there are like still many spaces for animals to wandering around, I think yes, capturing is absolutely a wrong thing to do. However, as we are being industrialized and a lot of lands are derived from the animals, so leaving them in the nature is actually, I think, more dangerous than keeping track of them, because do you know some approaches they just capture animals and then sells them for the sake of money, and some deforestation are also intimidating the animals and leave them no spaces to um, lead their normal life. So I think with the new normal of their life, we cannot just let them wandering around as they did in the past, and we have to make them accommodate to the new circumstances. That is the best solution to for the animals, I guess.
Yes, serious solution because in today it's hard to just leave the animal in the nature. It's where we will hunting down by human. There will not be enough forest or jungle because we cut down on in big cities. Yeah, like you see in China or yeah, in China and India when some elephant they lose the environment, they start to go inside the town, the city, they attack human. And I think currently the zoo is good. Yeah, the zoo is not bad unless it have enough money and facilities to keep the animal, and that's just all of it. Yeah, the zoo is good unless it's have money, unless it can serve the animal. And the thing that we have to stop it, make fun of animal, like stop riding some elephant or horse when you go into the zoo. Yes, stop it because yeah, it's really where a lot of elephant that died because of just a human right. It's too much and it was hitting during the hard training session.
Mm.
And that's just on our discussion. For audience, if you have any comment or any question, you just turn on your microphone and ask them
Question time.
question. Okay, so if you guys don't have any questions, so so this is over. And for my opinion, we should keep zoo, but the zoo have to have enough facility and money to develop and to raise animal treated well. Yeah, and stop right elephant or watching some animal show in the zoo. Yes, just stop that, then animal going to get better. Just put you in an animal how you feel when you are chasing badly and you are just in the fun of everyone. Just think of it and try to stop it. And I believe in the future it's going to change. A lot of zoo started to improve and they start to make some safari when animal was putting freely like in the wildlife and yeah, and visitor can travel in and just watch them. And I think that's the best thing, the best solution. And
Mm.
that is all our discussion. Thank you for your all listening and attention.
Mm. Thank you. Okay. Feedback please for this team everyone. Steve, Phương Anh, Bằng Lăng, Khánh Minh, Quỳnh Anh, Mai Vương.
Well, in regards to the moderation, well, I'm pretty sure Jack has controlled the situation there,
He
but
did.
it was a bit underwhelming, might I say.
Mm.
It was a bit awkward at points, and too many moments of silence. And I think he spoke a bit too much. Like, I almost felt as if he was the third panelist, and like he was having two roles panelist and moderator. And yeah, it's a bit of an imbalance in terms of speaker time there. Yeah, but ultimately, I think the one word that would summarize the situation there the best would be a bit awkward.
Mm, okay. Others, feedback please to moderator first. Mm.
I think that overall that Jack moderate and control the flow quite well. He does have sum up and take away like in the end. But there's one thing I noticed that in his introduction, he mentioned something about like food and going into the zoo as have some terrible condition, and
Mm.
that part where I might think that he has led the panel and the audience into kind of one side because he's given his opinions right into the introduction.
Mm. Okay. Others, any feedback? Okay. So this is my feedback to Jack. Huh? Jack, there are 2 points that you did really well. At first, you hooked us by your questions, and we immediately understand your topic by those questions. I think that's a great point. And then you even share your own opinions after the panelists share their own opinions. The point is that you may want to shorten it a bit. You still share your own opinion after the panelists have shared their own opinions, but just make it shorter. Make it shorter. That is the first recommendation, Jack. And the second recommendation is about your energy. Make sure that your energy is high so that people can be high with you. Because you lead the whole crowd. So your energy will influence others. And for Milan, for Sherlock and Dean, Sherlock, you may want to be more open, more expressive. Even though that after the whole course, I understand that you come a very long way to this stage of your public speaking ability. The challenge is that in your voice, right, in your articulation, is really clear. That is a great thing. The challenge is only about when people hear what you say, it's still a little bit reserved. You still not freely yet to share your own opinions. You still considerate. You still reserved. That is the challenge. I believe that you become much more open than the Sherlock that I met 3 months ago. But right now, the next challenge for you is that just be a little bit more expressive to others. Okay, Sherlock? Sherlock is disappeared. Okay, right. So this is the wrap up of our today's lesson. What do you learn, everyone? What is your takeaway? Please share your takeaway. My Vương, what is your takeaway today?
So I know about the two type of roles in discussion and how what is their responsibilities about of the two roles. Also, how to choose a topic, how to arrange discussions, and how to not forget any point of the discussion.
Okay. Kanman, what do you learn today?
Oh well, I learned about the roles of the moderator. I mean, I learned about the panel discussion in general, but the thing that stood out to me is the section about how to moderate and the role of the moderator. I think it is very helpful for me in um, both in looking back. There's in some instances that I wish I had known of these skills and these responsibilities, and also I'm sure it'll be helpful again in the future.
I see. Just one compliment to you today when you share your own opinions. I like the way you use your hand. That shows me that you're very energetic and passionate about your point. Because whenever, this is the observation to everyone, whenever you see someone, they try to use their hand while they're speaking, it means that that is the indication of showing their passion toward the topic. Okay? That is the way for you to observe body language of others. Right, next person. Anyone would like to share your takeaway?
Me.
Go ahead. Vâng.
So the biggest lesson that I learned today is the lesson I learned from Bang Lang. That how important of patience in a show or a discussion. Today Bang Lang did really well in a role of a moderator. She let me know that I need to be patient more and more, and also how to overcome the challenge from the panelists and the audience who gave it.
Okay, good. Quỳnh Sherlock, Mạnh Long, what do you learn? And Jack. And Steve now.
Personally, well, literally here, since this lesson's about panel discussion, I'm now clear about the roles of all the characters in panel discussion, like how much speaker time you and how to like manage. You need like the free. You need to emanate authority, and you need to have energy, and you need to be able to overcome challenges from the speaker. Yeah, those are like the three takeaways I learned about being a moderator. And of course, personally, I learned not to overcomplicate my vocabulary when I'm speaking, so that
Yeah.
the audience can better understand, regardless of whether or not they're paying attention or not.
Good. Now I understand you completely. Okay, next person. Phương Anh. Already, Bonans.
Well, I learned to how to moderate and how to be a panelist in a panel discussion and know how to deal with the unexpected problems that may happen by seeing others being a moderator and also how to put your unique perspective as a role of a panelist.
Good. Guy. Bang Lang and Sherlock. Jack.
Yes, I personally learned that I should care about other people emotion when and when I interrupt them, and yeah, and also think and also know that energy is a very important part when you are speaking, and when you do public speaking. I kind of undermined the energy this morning.
Okay. Rồi, Mai Vương. Jack and Sherlock.
Well, for me, I learned how to be a moderator and how to be a panel, like how to participate on a discussion.
Sherlock, go ahead, Sherlock.
Okay.
I think basically I learned how to not moderate and how to moderate a panel discussion, because mainly I've just been a panelist for the last exercise, but I've also learned from other moderators in this class.
Sure. You might want to be the moderator in other in the other future opportunities.
I don't think that's going to happen soon.
Good. All right. Now let's talk. Just have around 5 minutes to talk about our final test. Do you have the topic yet, everyone? Do you have the topic yet for the final speech?
No.
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 Huh? No.
Clear no.
No.
No too.
No too. Okay. Check, but now.
Using a random word generator and still don't find anything.
Okay. Right. So it means that you are stuck at topic selection. If I understand you correctly, right? At this stage, you stuck at topics. So the next step that I can help you is I will talk to Miss Dean, and then we will discuss the list of topics, some suggested topics that may suit your audience, and it may suit you as well. So you can choose your own topic based on the suggestion that we will give you later. Okay, that can be a solution for this stage. And after that, Wenan will share with our class your own rehearsal schedule. For each learner, you will rehearse with me and Miss Dean just in around 15 minutes after you finish your script and your own rehearsal. Then you're gonna rehearse with us. Wenan will share with you the list of schedule later because we just reschedule our final test on to July 3rd, 1 week later, and you have more time to prepare. Okay? So do you think that with my suggestion, is it a better way for you to perform better in our final test? Do you have any challenges that we still haven't figured out for you yet? Huh? Any other challenges that you may have, everyone?
I don't have any.
Mm. Okay, good. Huh? So the next step we think today we will send them a list of questions, huh? A list of topic and questions, so that they can choose based on that, and they can select their own topic. Right, if we don't have anything else, I will see you again on our rehearsal section and then on our final test. Okay?
Well,
About yeah, yeah.
excuse me, when will be the rehearsal session?
Vunan, please share with Jack this
Hmm.
information. When will be?
I have shared with you guys a form that
Mm.
that has the time and the date on that, and to for you to select it, and I will schedule it based on your information,
Mm.
and we'll have the I will have that scheduled today to give it to you. Please keep on track and please check your notification on messengers.
Okay, thank you.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay. Any other question, everyone? No, huh? So we done, huh? Huh?
For
Vunan, go
those
ahead.
who don't know, like, we heard of this July is going to be the official event, and we are going to do it online, right?
Online, Bang Lang, because I don't think that we can open the lockdown very soon.
Yeah, that
Mm.
that is that is.
Mm.
And do you guys know the topic yet? Have you?
And you mean me, the topic?
No, like on the like learner, did they know the topic?
No, not yet, because they're not aware of that. That's why that we need to send them a list of topics so that they can suggest, they can pick it on their own.
Oh, so we get to pick the topic.
No, you don't need to pick the topic. You can choose a topic on your own. But just because some learners they are stuck at choosing the topic, that's why that we need to suggest them.
Oh yeah, I see. Okay.
Mm-mm. But you have your own right to choose a topic. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-mm. Okay.
But
Yeah.
wait, the main topic is change.
Mm.
So the question and your topic that you're gonna talk about is around change.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
The theme is change, right? The theme is change. So we need to talk. We need to pick our topic surrounding change. Thank you, Winan. Any other points? Then we finish. Okay, huh? Okay, bye bye, huh?
Okay,
No
okay.
response.
All right.
Bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
See ya.
Bye. See ya.
See you.
Yeah. Goodbye.
See ya.
See ya.